training accreditation, so that we do all this so that the best outcomes can be achieved for our patients. So we also hold our annual colorectal symposium and this is our 3rd year, and we're very proud of it because it's one of its kind. We get the best physicians and surgeons who deal with colorectal disease from around the world to come and talk to us. And this year we've had more than 500 registrations. It was phenomenal, because it's only a 3rd year of this program. And we have some of the best physicians in the world coming and talking to our junior doctors and trainees and even senior consultants. So this year the focus is going to be on colorectal cancer because a lot is changing and evolving, new techniques, technology, robotics, transanal TME, laparoscopy, CME, and how you manage it, how you manage the complications, because that's what needs to be done. Surgery can be done, but it needs to be done safely so that functional and clinical outcomes are at its best. So this is the 3rd year, and I said, and we're also going to webcast this so that we can reach a worldwide audience through our Apollo Medvarsity channel. So at the end of it, we have on the Sunday evening, we have an annual dinner. The highlight of the dinner will be the Professor M. Rangabhasham Memorial. Professor Rangabhasham is very close to us. He's one of leading surgeons, and he was one of the guys who a surgeon who introduced specialist colorectal services to this part of the world. And Professor Rangabhasham's 3rd memorial oration is going to be given by Professor Mariana Barrow from Cleveland Clinic. She'll be talking on women in leadership because it's very important, and we see women leading in all aspects of business, trade, healthcare, and so this talk will be, it will be very apt given by Professor Barrow and in the name of Professor Rangabhasham's memorial oration. Thank you.
To continue to be involved since the inception. Now our 3rd annual International Colorectal Disease meeting here, and it is becoming international this year. I know we have large contingents coming from Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and elsewhere, Singapore, elsewhere in Asia, and I suspect over the years we're going to start attracting people from all over the world, over 500 registrants. Thanks to Sangeeta and the rest of the family and the Apollo Hospitals group for the fantastic support. We couldn't do it otherwise, but it's more than just a meeting. It's a relationship, as you've heard, a relationship with a number of top hospitals around the world. And we thank the chairman and the rest of Ms. Reddy and everybody else for the support, because it's really important, the liaison we have with Cleveland Clinic, main campus, Florida, with the AIS channel in Spain that we've had for several years, and University College London, that there's a constant flow of ideas. It's not once a year, but it's having each other to the various institutions throughout the year, starting to exchange residents, collaborating together on research projects, on manuscripts, and working together to improve the care of patients throughout the world. So ideally, the evaluation and the treatment of a patient in Chennai is going to be no different than it is in London or Weston or Ohio or Barcelona or elsewhere, with the continued collaboration. That's a commitment that all of us have, and we're expanding the pool, as you've heard, with Orlando and St. Mark's in London. And
colleagues from St. Mark's in London and from Istanbul and from Orlando. It's really a pleasure to be here. So I've got to as well congratulate Dr. Krishnan on his vision and thank Preetha Reddy and the Reddy family for their vision in supporting a congress like this. At the end of the day, I think what Dr. Krishnan highlighted most importantly at the start of his talk is that this is about the patient. And this is about improving how you in India can care for patients. So we are also in the US in the middle of Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. And I can think of a patient I just saw in my clinic earlier this week who was 45 and he had bleeding going on for a year, and it was presumed to be hemorrhoids or piles. And in fact he had an advanced rectal cancer and needed many surgeries and chemotherapy, and sadly for him, he's probably not going to survive this. So the awareness that Venki was talking about is really critical if we're going to improve how patients do.
Dr. Venkatesh Krishnan, our visiting faculty, I mean, we've got truly a galaxy. Thank you all for being here, Professor Wexner, Professor Delaney, Professor Scott, and Dr. Matthew Albert, Professor Janendra, and Dr. from Istanbul, which is so nice, Professor Hakan. It's amazing that, in the third year of inception of this conference, we've actually got people from truly the best in class. Cleveland Clinic as a brand is aspirational in the way it functions, and every aspect of clinical care is rated as one of the best. And for us to be able to have all of you visit us, in a way, it kind of certifies the work which is done here. So I'd really like to thank you all, gentlemen, for being here with us. And more than anything else, it helps us reinvent ourselves. If it's really not a run for numbers, because in India we're treating, we are committed to treating 1.3 billion people, and at least 20% of them can actually come to any private sector hospital and get the kind of care which they'd like to. But I think for us to be able to really raise the bar on what we do year on year, raise the awareness, I think that's the commitment of the institution. We consistently have done it with our cardiac program. And ours is, one of the largest and most respected cardiac programs globally. And I'm saying this because, when you say Cleveland Clinic, it's usually cardiac. But then we realized that a few years ago, and that was thanks to Venki, that the department of, colorectal, GI, pelvic floor, all that is completely state-of-the-art. It's one of the best globally. And he came and told us that, we should be working together to see that this is available in our country. And I think that was the beginning of the program. And 3 years down the road, I can say that, people truly believe in the kind of work, in the kind of outcomes which is happening within our institution. And what typically happens is that, if we can really raise the standard or the benchmark within our system and what we do, that others then start doing the same thing. They start copying. So the level of healthcare and the outcomes really go up in the country. The standards go up. And I think that's the responsibility of leadership in an institution like ours. So we really keep trying. And, it is, Professor Wexner said that the treatment is no different whether it's here or whether it's in the Cleveland Clinic. And I think that's really what we'd like to aspire for in every aspect of what we do. And a multidisciplinary team, I think, is a commitment which Apollo has made for the patients, because patients are entitled to high level and high standards of care. And if we can do that within our system, then I think it's a job well done. And systematically, in most departments, especially when it comes to oncology, it's happening. And I think people are entitled to it. And that's extremely important. The awareness is a big issue, and a lot of, especially Indians, unfortunately, do not really focus on prevention, do not focus on early detection. And we have been constantly pushing this of late because, our chairman is very committed to it. And when you catch signs of disease early, you can treat them well. If you can prevent the onset of something horrific happening, it's one of the best things which can ever happen. So, when we spoke about either screening or early detection, I think that's a commitment which Apollo has done. We run one of the largest screening programs, definitely in the country, but maybe even globally, because on any given day, over 2,000 people are screened within the Apollo system. And I mean like in-depth systematic screening. It's not like we run a few blood tests and say we've done screening, but it's a proper and a concentrated in-depth screening. So the colorectal screening now has become a big part of what we do. And the treatment after that, I think, is there's been a very concentrated focus on state-of-the-art treatment. So, whether it's investment into robotics, if it's investment into the best in class in terms of radiation or surgical support and care, I think Apollo has been investing in it and will continue to do what we do, and we have to do them really well, with a strong commitment to be able to consistently focus on great clinical outcomes. You cannot have great clinical outcomes unless you have great clinicians. And I think the biggest strength we have within our system is, clinicians like Venki and a whole bunch of them. But more than anything else, the fact that, people like all of you come and support the program. There's exchange of thoughts, exchange of wisdoms, exchange of techniques and ideas, and also look into the future on how healthcare can pan out. And as I'm very fond of saying, people like me are only the support system, because I'm not a doctor, but we've learned from our chairman to be completely uncompromising when it comes to the delivery of healthcare. So I really welcome all of you. I'd like to thank the organizing team for putting this together. It's very hard to do something year in and year out. You can do it once and do it beautifully. It's a bash and then you forget all about it. But to consistently run a program every year takes a lot of commitment, and I can see that happening in print and the visual media, because unless you all support the vision and the dream, I don't think Apollo can continue to do what it does. And this has been going on for the past 35 years from the time we started. And we have come a long way. And one of Chairman's most favorite lines, which you'll all hear a bit later, is that we have to find ways and means